So we're going to start off doing some drills. We're going to do what we call glove drills. Glove drills are not blocking drills. We'll do blocking drills later. In other words, I'm not teaching you right now the defenses against the punches. I'm using the gloves like we would use focus mitts. The advantage of a glove drill is people that train with me know that we do both, right? And focus mitt drills can be amazing and they can do a lot of things. But the one downside to a focus mitt drill is I have the focus mitt, so I'm helping you work out, and I gotta wait till the round is over, switch, and then I get to do something. So for example, when I'm teaching a class, especially if it's more beginner level people that are more easily frustrated or more easily distracted, like the attention span of a common housefly, glove drills have the advantage of, since we're catching with the gloves, I can go, you can go, I can go, I can go. So if you're gonna teach a class, right, especially beginner people, you don't want to say to them, because people will think that just because they're holding focus mitts, they're not doing anything. Everybody wants to hit focus mitts, everybody wants to hit iPads, and nobody wants to hold them. Whereas you do a glove drill, we go back and forth and back and forth. And we're going to start with the first four, and the first four are the boxing four. Meaning left jab, I catch it and I tap it. Cross, hook, and uppercut with the right. So again, left straight. This is my chun. I'm going to still turn my hips and shoulders. I'm still going to shoot my punch straight in. Cross. You know, this is left chun, this is right chun. I like the fact, though, that in boxing you have jab, which always means your front hand, and cross, which means your right hand, your rear hand. Because if you do look at traditional poetry, it says chun, 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 chun. Which hand? Right? Chun! What does that mean? If I say, when the guy comes in hit him with the cross, you know what that means. If I say throw more jabs, you know what that means. So I do jab, I do cross, I do hook. Again, palm down or palm facing me, it doesn't matter. But I turn my hips and shoulders, I make sure the elbow is up. And then uppercut. This is Jugen Pound. When I catch, notice something. Beginning people will do this. Jab, cross, hook, uppercut. That means my head is like this big. Now remember, in real life, he's hitting my face. He's hitting my face, same place, hitting my jaw, and come underneath my chin. Obviously, I don't want to do this because you've got somebody with some power. You're going to get punched. So in front of you, not on my face, but not on my face. I'm going to punch you in the face. I don't want to do this because, again, when I do this, and I don't want to do this, so I do this. Does that make sense? Lean one means continuousness. One of the things that it means in punching is that you return to where you came from. So in other words, as opposed to the railroad wheels, this is what we call a leak. Right? It's a traditional Chinese term is leak. You have a leak in your roof, the water gets in. You have a leak in your attack, the counterattack gets in. So it's important to punch and come back. Punch and come back. Punch and come back. Punch and come back. There is an amateur boxing thing, which they tell you every time you're done punching, touch your head. Every time you're done punching, touch your head. Because you'll know your hands are up. Okay? It won't make you blow it like the hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Left uppercut. Again, not here. Think about Yuling. Think about waist power, hips and shoulders. But also think about occupy the center. Right? If I'm hitting Frank like this, and see how much more of me there is to hit. I don't want to do this. I mean, even though I have this hand up, you can see it, right? I'm still occupy the center. So if I do this, well, first of all, he's going to say, he doesn't see it. If I do this, you see it. If I do that, you don't get as much chance to see it. But second of all, do you see how I'm creating a barrier? How I'm occupying the center line? This is, in Hung Da, you don't see them go. It's perfectly correct. The only thing, I wouldn't do is do the twisting stance. But again, it's coded language. They're just trying to get you to turn. So, I'm going to do it with the pads. Jab, cross, hook, right uppercut, left uppercut. Again, looks like we're doing just kickboxing, right? My favorite thing on the internet. Just doing kickboxing. That MMA stuff, it's just sports stuff. But, like I said, I like to relate it to what the traditional training is. My opinion is that if you had a time machine, you were able to go back 150, 200 years ago and look at Chinese martial arts, it would look a lot more like MMA than we probably, initially assumed. So, there are two basic strategies in Chinese martial arts that, if you've done it for a while, you've probably heard, which is, draw high to attack low and draw low to attack high. So, for example, I do hook into uppercut, right? And one of the reasons is because if he goes underneath the hook, he goes underneath the hook. If he goes underneath the hook. Testing. What? If he goes underneath the hook. Right? I know he's going to go low because I'm going high. So, I did uppercut, and I did left uppercut right overhand. Because let's say he was down there. And I did the uppercut. So he comes up to avoid it. So remember, my overhand particularly is 45-degree angle. So we don't want to go too hog wild because remember we're catching these, we're not just doing them. So if he goes jab, cross, hook, right uppercut, left uppercut. And again, I don't want him to go wide here, but he's not going to kill me because if he goes full power, you can knock my arm off. So jab, cross, hook, uppercut, overhand. Just like you're throwing a ball. But remember to think from this temple to this side of the joint. Just like with a sword or with a stick, right? Cut all the way through from the 45. But recover too. It's great to do. Oops. So be ready to go. Okay. Jab, cross, hook, right uppercut, left uppercut, overhand. Jab, cross, hook, up. And also, everybody says, well, sometimes you can't do things like long. If you notice, I just did this. I did cup without the full extension. And trust me, if I was here and I went, right? Frank doesn't want me to do that, right? My little spina bifida arm cup through, but it still hurts. Okay? I can go from here. I can also do from here. Just put your hands up, okay? So, Kung Fu used to be famous for the charts and all the places to strike. And sometimes it's ridiculous because you can take an acupuncture chart which has hundreds and hundreds of points. We don't have hundreds of points in martial arts to actually hit. But it's good to know sort of generally what you can hit. On the body, you got the solar plexus and the sternum. Those are good places to hit. If you're a bastard, you can hit somebody in the bladder. Right? When we have fighters, the first thing you always make sure before a fighter steps into the ring is that their bladder is empty. Because it's filled up, and if it gets hit, it pops. All right, of course, in a street fight, nobody has the luxury of wait 1 second, let me go. Okay. You have the liver on this side, and you have the spleen. Spleen? Yeah. Right? Gallbladder, spleen. They're both over here, but we usually think of this as spleen. Right? You also have the floating ribs. There's a reason they're called floating. They're the least connected ones that are kind of hanging. They don't go all the way around. So they're the easiest ones to dislodge and break. So when I'm doing body shots, your straight punches, solar plexus, bladder, right? When you're doing hooks, you're gonna go liver, spleen, right? Or floating ribs, floating ribs. But most people think of this, hooks, right? Hooks, again, remember I told you, are parallel to the floor. We talked about that. When we're doing body shots, you're actually doing 45. So, go back to my annoying chart that you will get tired of. These are overhands. These are body shots. These are overhands. These are body shots. In boxing, for a long time, they were referring to these as the sledge, as opposed to a body hook, right? Ruddick, right, was fancy. So, when I'm doing a body shot, I'm not going here. I'm going here. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to hit it, but that is going to do more damage than that. So, when we're in fighting stance, and we're doing this, we're going to go first to my liver, right? And remember, we're always targeting with context. In other words, I'm not just going to have him do this. No, I want him to do this, right? But you see, if you do it with some power, so I cover it. Yeah, see now. Let me tell you, I would not let Frank hit me in the body that way, right? But doing this, now, for this, I'm letting him, just reminding him, okay, up and into the spleen, right? So, this one and this one. Yeah, see, trust me, I would not be having him do that on my body, right? So I think what we're going to do is, these are the last two of the 8, but let's do them first separately. In other words, let's just work on this, right? Again, notice something, right? When I throw that shot, look where this hand is. People get a habit like they do body shots and they'll be down here. Right? Forget that. Forget about the elbow, right? We're not doing just boxing. We're doing martial arts. They're going to be elbows. So when I'm doing this one, I come over here. Same thing. Right? So I'm not hitting as hard, because when you hit as hard, you get sloppy. The harder you hit, the sloppier you get. That's why I tell you usually at the beginning, go slow. Jab, cross, hook, uppercut. You did left uppercut, overhand, and now the body shots. So, jab, cross, hook, right uppercut, left uppercut, overhand, body shot, body shot. Now again, like I said, remember, I do this, the overhand with the little spina bifida arm, right? Close, so that the next shot is right there. You see what I'm saying? As we were fighting, right? I got jab to find him. And again, I want to draw his attention high, so he doesn't notice low. Jab, cross, hook, uppercut, uppercut. Overhand, body shot, body shot. Now you got 8. Do them as glove drills, and then we're going to transition into defense.